Hello, everyone. I'm Thor Gunderson, and welcome to Just Asking for a Friend. So, by now, you know, this is the program. We go out into the collecting community. We talk to collectors, content creators, people throughout the statue industry, artists, sculptors, all walks of life in the collecting community. And today is a very special interview because this is a man I met 2 years ago at the Collectors Barbecue that Tim holds at the X Mansion every year. And himself and Lord King David, they put on a show that everybody remember even to this day and everything. They went back and forth about these Defender comic books and everything. And this man's an old school sideshow collector. But you know, the one thing that bothers me about this guy, he's into the light side of the Force, Obi-Wan Kenobi and all them kind of people. But I'm talking about my man. This is a good friend of mine. I'm talking about the one and only Augusto Dom, the Cannoli Crusader. Welcome to the show, my man.
Thank you. Thank
you. What's been happening, man?
Just I've been a little quiet lately. I've been a little quiet, keeping to myself, but everything's good.
Sometimes you got to do that. You know, even me, who's a YouTuber, I got for a year I had to go under because life intrudes, man. Ain't nothing you can do about it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of stuff happening. But the show must go on. I appreciate the intro, by the way. Very, very epic.
Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, well, you're an epic dude. Well, at least to me, you're an epic dude, my man. I enjoy hanging out.
Many will agree that I'm an
epic. So, what I like to start out with these is like where you grew up and everything, and how you got into like pop culture, and then later on, we'll like kind of trickle into how that led to all this collecting and all this mess that we do now. You know what I'm saying? So,
I grew up in the Bronx, New York. I don't know if my accent comes through. Sometimes it does. I think when I'm loud, my Bronx comes more than usual. First generation Italian American. My parents are from the other side. It's Italy, and
southern or northern.
Southern. So we are 40-minute train ride to Rome. So
wow. Okay.
So when we're there, my grandfather left me a house there. So
really?
Yeah. So I got a house there, and I haven't been there in a few years. So one of my aunts takes care of it. But when I was there with my wife, you could just take the train into Rome and do your thing, and then boom, take a 40-minute train ride back, and you're in town, and it's really convenient. You save a whole crap ton of money.
Right.
Yeah. So from the other side, a lot of my family's still there. Some of them start trickling in over here. Immigration takes a long time. So I've got some family now that are here. They open up restaurants in like Queens and stuff like that. Yeah. So, multinational families. I've got family everywhere: Australia, England, Germany. So we're everywhere. My genetic line is all over the place. How I got into pop culture, I mean, so it kind of segues from that. Is my first language was Italian as a kid because my parents didn't speak English. My dad came here when he was like 19, and the first language I learned in the house was Italian. So I still remember this somehow. You have when you're a kid, there's certain things you remember. I remember the first day of pre-K freaking out. Like my grandmother had to like convince me to go. I just didn't want to go. It's because I didn't speak English.
Oh yeah.
So I was like, like any kid would be really confused. And I learned to read from comics.
Oh wow.
So my dad walked me in. There was a comic book store in the Bronx. It was in Little Italy. I don't remember the name of it. And my first comic book, which I still have, was the first appearance of Carnage, I think.
Really? Man, you're young. Good night. I bought that when I was in high school.
Yeah. I'm 30. I'm going to turn 30. Well, no, I'm going to June passed. I just turned 39. So I think it was the first.
Well, no,
it was a Carnage on the cover, I think.
Was it Maximum Carnage? Oh no, I know the one you're talking about. That's I know the one you mean.
Yeah, it's the white cover. I have a couple of copies now, but I have the original one that I had when I was a kid.
Okay.
Fortunately, it's beat up. because I read it like 300 times.
Right.
I bought more copies later on, but I have that one and a few other ones. So that's where I got into Marvel comics. I'm a Marvel guy through and through. I'm reading DC, but I couldn't tell you 90% of the characters in DC.
Right.
About any of that stuff. So that's how I got into it. I was a nerd up from Jump Street, man. I just I gravitated towards it, and I never let it go. I mean, it was peaks and valleys over time. Like you get interested, and it kind of falls. I was always one of those guys that kept on to my stuff. So
right. I'm gonna tell you before we start getting like further. I'm gonna tell you a story about my story about Italy. Right. So in 1988, I think I was in 7th grade. I took Latin class.
Oh, nice.
And for spring, I couldn't tell you a word of Latin right now. But we went for spring break. We went to Europe, right? So we went to England, Italy, France, and Italy. We went to like Rome, Florence. We didn't go to Venice. We went to Pisa. I saw the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Anyway, I believe it was Florence we were in, and so I wanted to buy some perfume for my mom. And I didn't know over there. I mean, I don't know how it is now, but when we went there, they don't want you going and touching this stuff. They, you tell them they go right. Yeah, I didn't know that. So man, I went to go because I wanted to, I wanted to make sure it didn't smell horrible as giving it to my mom, So I go and spray this stuff. Man, this woman came from behind the counter. I mean, she could have been more than this big. I'm talking about, no, she slapped my hand. She slapped. She said, "No, you're not doing the tire like that." I said, "Oh."
They don't believe in samples. They're not into samples. This is like
this.
You want it, you don't want
it. This chick was 2 foot tall. She smacked the hand. No. In Italian, we don't do that. I said, "Oh my god." Everybody busts out laughing.
There's certain things that it's like a culture shock. So they don't do samples. That's still a thing. They don't do samples. They don't do like if you go to I don't know, like there's a McDonald's there, right, in Rome. It was like the first McDonald's in Italy. They charge you. I don't know if they do this now. I haven't been to McDonald's in a while, but they charge you for the ketchup. So like they don't believe in like, oh, you go to dinner and they put bread on the table. Like, no, if you want bread, it's like whatever, it's $3 or something. There's no bread on the table or none of that. They're not into that. You want something, you're paying for it, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like that in France. We had to pay for, I did notice this all over Europe. Like usually for breakfast, they just give you it's like bread, like croissants and all that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And usually it ain't like breakfast here. It's like unless you ask for it, it's usually not eggs and all that kind of stuff. It's just like you want some pastries or, and that's
like a cookie, like a breakfast. And when my grandmother, God rest her soul, but she would give me like a cookie or two and coffee.
Yeah, that was it.
They don't believe in heavy breakfast, which is something too. I gotta be honest with you. If I eat too heavy of a breakfast, I feel like crap.
It kind of weighs you down. But I mean, they load you up at dinner though, Jack.
Yeah,
I mean, they make sure you eat some dinner.
And you got siesta, so during the day everybody takes a nap. I don't know if you remember that.
I can't. That I don't remember, but I remember in England. I remember tea time in England. And that was serious. These people literally shut down at 4. This is 4 o'clock. I was like, what?
I think it's 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock every day. Mm-hmm. My town where I stay, like, doors close. Like the stores close 1 o'clock. Everyone goes home and like literally takes a nap. I mean, that's midday nap. I mean, they should. I think there's something to that right there. I kind of like the concept.
Right.
I don't know why we my cousins over there, they make fun of us. They're like, granted, the economy is better. The economy in Italy is a little rough. It's harder to get a job. People don't have money disposable money like they do here. Right. But we do work ourselves to death over here. That's what they always say. Like the quality of life. Now, don't make you fool you. Yeah, they got free healthcare there, but I bust my cousin's chops. I'm like, oh yeah, well every time you need some dental work or you need to go get surgery, where do you come? You come here. So. It's free over there, but you don't want to use it. it's like come here. So everybody's always like, oh yeah, free healthcare, it's great. But then why are my cousins, booking trips when they need to get like the cavity filled? So,
old Roman proverb: you get what you pay for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, is Spider-Man your favorite character, or?
Yeah, Spider-Man is my favorite. Always has been. I can't tell you why. I can guess. It's just maybe I related to it because I was young, and when I read him, he was like a kid. He was more of and that was kind of the pitch, right? When Marvel Comics, everything was supposed to be more relatable. Right. With Marvel Comics versus DC, so young kid dealing with young kid problems at the same time, trying to tackle, being a superhero. But honestly, I think it was the art that dragged me more than anything. I like to draw as a kid. I'm very artistic. I like to paint, draw. So I would sketch, and try to draw Spider-Man. And back in the day with Spider-Man comics, I don't know if you remember, when Spider-Man would do some like acrobatic stuff in the comic, you'd see his body, the cells.
Oh yeah.
They don't do that anymore, which I think kind of takes away a lot from the Spider-Man comics because they just see him when you like open a comic book now, you just see him at the end, throwing the fist.
Yeah.
You don't know how he got there. That's kind of the whole thing to me. Is like you want to see how he, dodged the bullet and then rolled around and did all that stuff. That's cool, and I just gravitated towards that. The artwork now is not quite what it used to be.
I think probably also for you with Spider-Man is probably growing up in New York, and Spider-Man's in New York.
That's a good point too. Yeah, everything's local. He's like he's from Queens, I'm from the Bronx, but I know all this, all the references, like the New York City. Yeah, that's too. It's not quite as relatable to like Superman or Batman because it's a made up place.
So how do you feel? Like, who was your favorite movie Spider-Man in that?
Ooh,
because I ain't gonna lie, unpopular opinion. I was never a big fan of Tobey Maguire. Like everybody swear him down, he's the end all be all. But I never saw Peter Parker in him.
So Tobey was a good. Well, first off, he was the first at the time when that movie was announced. That was for me. Was like I was excited enough to be like this in my seat.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I was. I don't get excited like that anymore about anything. But I remember I was. When you're older, it's like
it's like whatever. Yeah.
But I was on it definitely left a mark because I remember I was on a date with this girl that I dated in elementary school, I think, and she was like, "Damn, you're excited about it." I was like, "Oh my god, like this is my guy." I've been reading these comics forever, and now he's going to be in a movie. So to me, the first Spider-Man movie, and if you watch it now, it doesn't quite hold up. Yeah. But the thing I like about it is the best part is when he gets bit by the spider, the whole him transforming. Mm-hmm. I think that movie did it best.
Right.
Him turning into Spider-Man, the whole wearing the glasses, not wearing the glasses.
Yeah.
Like all that little stuff, I thought was cool. As opposed to what is it, Garfield and who we got now, Holland. I feel like Holland finally at the last movie, at the end of it, where he's by himself and he's in the blue and red, the real blue and red costume, and he's on his own. I feel like that's the first time he's officially Spider-Man. He hasn't been Spider-Man yet. He's just learning to be Spider-Man. I feel like the way they ended that movie, it's like, okay, he's Spider-Man now. Now he's got all that, and I think a lot of it draws to, with great power, comes great responsibility. He didn't hear that until the third movie.
Right.
So he's technically not Spider-Man yet. He's just in training.
Right.
So that's kind of a big deal.
He was my favorite out of all three. Like a lot of people out here say that Garfield is their favorite. They said the movies weren't great, but they're like, and I can relate about that because Affleck is my favorite Batman. Not really the best movies, but to me, in costume and his scenes and everything, to me, he's the best movie Batman in my opinion. Yeah, because,
Yeah, I don't know.
You like who?
I like Affleck better than Bale.
Exactly. Like the Bale movies are better, but like him with that oh my god, dude! Every time he talked, I was like, please God.
My big question: if I ever was in a room with Christian Bale, I want to know, was that your idea or was that Nolan's idea? Whose idea was that? Because with all this technology, couldn't they have given him like a voice altering thing?
Just like they did with Affleck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
why do you have to talk like a fool? But best Batman to me is Keaton.
Yeah, no, see, I think a lot of times I think people say that because he was the first one, you know, and he was cool. I mean, I'm not. I like him better than Bale, you know, but to me, like Affleck, just like especially like the actions, like his Bale, he do too much this Olay bull crap. I'm like, what is that, you know? But like, and again, okay, even before we get to the action, if you line them all up next to each other and you look at the books and look at them. Affleck looked the most like Batman, like far as in the comic books.
Well,
Like
he
the
looks
rest,
like Frank Miller. He looks like Frank
exactly.
Miller.
But I'm saying the rest of them look like movie versions of Batman. Like they,
Yeah,
you know, see what
yeah,
I'm saying? But
yeah.
he looked like Batman, you know, and
So, like, the Keaton is heavily influenced by the director. What's his name?
Tim Burton.
Yeah, that's a Burton. Like that.
Yeah.
He's an interesting director. He can really shine dark. Like he's how does he? I think I watched an interview once. He says, "My movies aren't dark." He says everything around the movie is dark, but I shine a light in the middle. Is like the best way to describe how he directs. Like there's darkness all around, but I'm like kind of spotlighting what I want you to see. But everything else is dark around. But his like artisticness in like with just Gotham City and the whole, like he was able to make Gotham City a character in and of itself.
Right.
That's why I like those movies. It like has its own flavor. Where the Bale movies was Chicago. I mean,
right. Basically, and it looked like Chicago, even though the last one was Pittsburgh.
Was it
the bridges? That was Pittsburgh.
Okay.
And they might have cut back in, you know, between. But see, again, people mistake because like they used to make this, you know, misunderstanding when we did open mic. I said I'm not saying the Affleck movies was better. I'm just saying him as Batman to me was better than these other dudes in my opinion. Because like that warehouse scene, I like, dude, that's it. Like that's they finally got this right. Like that's Batman right there. You know, all this Olay mess your man be doing, and I was like, no, get this dude out of here.
Yeah,
talking about Bale, you know.
Yeah.
So
he the choreography in the third Bale movie was bad.
It was horrible.
It looked like you could tell he was doing it in slow motion.
Yeah.
But they were speeding up the frame to make it look like he's punching someone hard, but it didn't look right.
That one scene before he fought Bane the first time, you know, when before he broke his back, and there's one part where like the lights are flashing. He's like like they do this and he's moving close. And I'm like, what is this mess? Like, is he in a rave or something? Like, what is? I'm like,
bad. So like, I liked my favorite Batman fight scene is in the first Batman with Keaton when he fights the guy with the swords.
Oh yeah, that was cool. Yeah,
and he posts up and he's like, all right, do this, and that was a cool choreography.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah,
yeah, that brings back memories.
So who's your favorite Joker?
It's
movie wise, you know.
Yeah,
because in my opinion, I like Mark Hamill the best. You know, even though he's not.
So he does the voice. I think he has the most obviously because he's only going by voice. He has the most iconic. Like if he were to talk, if they just put 100 Joker voices in a row, you would be able to pick out Hamill's. Like
exactly.
It's iconic. But as far as actor, I know there's a lot of Heath Ledger purists, but I still think Jack Nicholson is the best Joker.
I ain't mad at that. Because he looks more like the Joker than Heath did. You know,
and he makes more sense to me as the Joker. He's a gangster,
right?
And he's still funny.
Exactly.
There's scenes in the first Batman that still make me chuckle, like when he's electrocuting the guy, shaking his hand.
Oh yeah. That's
freaking hilarious. When he's in the art museum.
I was about to say that.
Around. I mean, come on, man. That's.
And I like when he stopped. I said, no, not this one.
Not this one. I like.
Yeah. I like this one. You know?
There's so much Jack Nicholson coming through on that because to me, the Joker, Heath Ledger's Joker, he gets the sadistic part down.
Right.
But there's no humor.
Yeah, he wasn't that funny.
Yeah, none. He doesn't even crack it. Like, there's a few jokes he says, like, I'm having a magic trick with the pencil.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, but it wasn't funny. Really.
Yeah, there's no sadistic humor where even you're like, you're looking at yourself like, holy crap, I'm laughing at this, but this is crazy.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Yeah. You actually find yourself laughing at things where he's killing people, and you think it's funny because, and then you're like, whoa, you're checking yourself. See, that's a good Joker.
Right.
When he makes you laugh, even when he's doing something freaking horrible, that's a good Joker.
Right.
He didn't touch that, and then you got the other guy. I just can't even remember his name.
Yeah, we can agree he's trash. Yeah,
every franchise this guy touches, Leto,
yeah, Jared Leto, yeah.
Can't, dude, just stop making comics. I'll
tell you this: that if you saw the extended cut of Justice League, that scene with him and what's name had at the end of the extended Justice League.
I did see it. I just don't remember this.
That was a good scene when they had this little discussion and Batman's telling him he's gonna kill him. Yes. That was cool.
That was. I think he found some. Unfortunately, they didn't release it in theatrical cut.
Right.
But he finally found some momentum with the role. Like he found his Joker, because what he was trying to do in Suicide Squad was, I don't even know what it is, man. Yeah. Like, that's the type of guy the real Joker would kill just because he annoyed him. Like, dude, stop trying to pretend to be me.
Exactly.
He'd kill him immediately in this unceremonious way, just blow his brains out and call it a day.
Yeah. No Joker toxin, no smiling face.
Nothing.
Just bye. Yeah, just goodbye. So, okay. So transitioning, how did you get into collecting? Like, when did I always like to hear the first piece that brought you into the quote unquote dark side.
So here's the thing, I was always into, rewind a little bit. For some reason, I always was into, like, if we went on vacation, if we went to Rome, or if we went to Disney World, I always liked knickknacks, man.
Okay.
If I went to Rome, I wanted a little Julius Caesar. If I went to Disney World, I wanted a little Mickey Mouse or whatever. I felt like I was taking something with me. And there was this comic book store by me called Dragon's Den that introduced me to a lot of stuff. And they always had the glass cases with the Bowen and stuff like that. And I couldn't necessarily, I was a little kid. You can't go to mom and say, hey, mom, I want to spend $150 on a figurine.
No.
What are you talking about? Here's $10, go buy an action figure.
Right.
But it was always something about, like, statues. I don't know what it is. I can't even tell you from when I was a kid. I always felt like I liked it, like I was taking a piece of the movie with me or the character with me if I had it. Right. So my first Marvel statue I got in Disney World, and my sister has it now. It's at my parents' house. It was this Dr. Doom cast iron little statue, but it was on an onyx base, so it weighs like 200 pounds. I see it on eBay. It goes for good money.
200 pounds.
Yeah, it was it weighs like it felt like it did. It's on literally an onyx stone base, like this thick. So it's got to weigh like 30 pounds, and it's like this big.
Right.
And that was like my first Marvel piece. But I started collecting Sideshow before it was like a thing. My first piece, and I have them both, this was the originals, the OG Hulk when it came out, and the OG Dr. Doom on Throne. I got those when they came out. $300 each one.
Go check. Stop. Pause this right now, people. Go to eBay and check both of them pieces, and then come back and then.
I thought I was crazy then. I thought I was like, "What am I doing?" But it was just like, "Oh man, this is so cool." And then when the box comes, and I was still in my parents' house. My dad was like, yeah, I was still in my parents' house.
Wow.
I'm old school. Just here's another little tidbit. I'm old school Italian. I went from living in my parents' basement to getting married. That's how we do things. We don't. Wow, I never lived on my own. I lived with my mom, and now I live with my wife.
That's all right. I seen Goodfellas, so I know what's up.
So my dad calls me. I'm at work, and he's like, "You got this box in the driveway that looks like it. What's
not in the driveway, Jesus?"
And I was like, "Oh, it's a Hulk statue." He's like, "What?" Like, yeah, it's a Hulk statue. He's like, "It weighs like 100 pounds." I'm like, all right, just leave it in the driveway. I didn't think it was a big deal, man. You know,
Leave it in
it
the
was in my
driveway.
driveway for like 8 hours, and then I
Oh
got
my
it
God.
and get home, open it up, and it was like, I have arrived at this new thing that I really like.
Oh my God.
So I had a lot of the OG stuff, like the She-Hulk with the meter.
Yeah.
I'll take pictures so you guys can post it up. But I got a lot of the older stuff. I sold a lot of these stuff that you don't know it's going to be worth money.
You know.
Then I got it. It became I was hooked because I was I wasn't married. I was making money. I already had I bought a house in the Bronx, but I wasn't even living in it. I was renting it out, so I had no bills, right?
That's what's up.
And and I was just buying every statue that Sideshow put out, every single one. I was buying stuff that I didn't even like. I bought Conan statues. I bought I had DC stuff that it was just like one of those things that's like, okay, yeah, why not? By the time I was done, I had my parents' attic was full of boxes of it. I never take I would just take them out of the box, make sure they weren't broken, and if they were, I'd replace it, and then put them back in the box and then put it in the attic, and I'd never see the damn thing again until I moved out of the house. Yeah, I must have had at one point like 100 Sideshow pieces. I just bought everything.
Really?
I don't know. Yeah.
And how'd your folks feel about this?
It got to the point where like my dad went up in the attic. He's like, "There's literally no room for anything except this. You got to get rid of some of this stuff." So I was like, yeah. So I had sold pieces, and granted, then I was like, "Oh wow, I'm making money on these." All of a sudden, I'm selling them on eBay, and I was making money on them, and I was like, "Oh, profit!" So I sold like I had I don't know 30 DC pieces, and I'm like, "Why am I buying this? I don't even like DC." Right. You know how that happens when you get into this stuff. It's like you break the seal, and all of a sudden you're buying everything that's coming out. And then, you get married and you have kids, and I slow down. Now I'm way more picky, way more picky. Strictly Marvel, Lord of the Rings, throw in some, I got 2 DBZ pieces from Prime 1 just because.
Oh, yeah, I remember you ordered those. Yeah,
so, yeah my theory on collecting is, like, I know PJ's a big, Paradox is a big completist. I don't care. I ripped that Band-Aid off a long time ago. I don't need all the characters. I don't care about all the characters. Like, I'll have every Prime 1 Lord of the Rings piece except Frodo. I don't care about Frodo. He's an important. I get it. He's like the main character. I totally understand.
I don't need no statue of Frodo. No, yeah.
Don't get a statue of the guy. That doesn't do anything for me. So I don't need to have them all. I'll get anything that meant something to me at a certain point in time. Like Dragon Ball Z was a high school thing, so I'll get Goku and Vegeta. I like Godzilla. I don't have any Godzilla. At one point, I was going to pull I was going to get that Prime 1 King Kong versus Godzilla.
Oh, yeah.
Then Tim talked me out of it, and I was like, all right, yeah.
He talked you off the ledge, huh?
Yeah, I was like, this is dumb, right? He's like, yeah, this is stupid. You don't need this. I was like, yeah. But I got what's his name coming? I have my first XM piece coming. I
was about to say that we know. I think we had Todd on the show when you talked about this maestro that's 800 pounds that's coming in. You know what I mean? So
I got a spot for him. I got a spot.
Do you?
Yes.
So you got the big time version with all this stuff that comes with it, right?
I did. See, I see that it's a cool piece. Mm-hmm. No one's ever making another one like that.
Nah.
So yeah.
But I think here's my prediction. I think when you get that piece, we're gonna see some more XM pieces show up because
I'm noticing that I'm slowing down on, like, I'm really picked up. My last 3 pieces were all Prime 1 Lord of the Rings. Mm-hmm. I haven't.
Which ones?
So I got Sauron.
That's the one.
Yeah. The Balrog and Gandalf. Okay. I got Gimli, Legolas, Aragorn, and the new Gandalf EX with him on the Balrog head.
Oh, yeah.
I got those. And the Lurtz, the orc. The big orc.
Okay. Yeah.
I got
the Orcai.
Yeah, the Orcai. I didn't get the little orc. I kind of missed them now because I kind of want them. So eventually I'll find them, I think. The problem is with a lot of these Prime 1 pieces and any of these pieces, I got this Magic case, and a lot of them don't fit.
I know Sauron doesn't.
No, Sauron, forget it. Yeah, Sauron,
I know Sauron doesn't. Yeah,
I knew that going in, but like even Aragorn, he's too damn tall. Like, and nobody makes statues with normal bases anymore. Everyone's got a base like this high, and it's getting a little stupid. So I got to be careful because not every, I'm getting like these little pedestals. There's a sawmill right up the street from me, so I'm buying the cut trunks.
Yeah,
and I buy the legs on Amazon for like $15, the metal legs, and I'm just drilling them in. So it's gonna have a raw wood trim around the side. I just gotta get big enough. I'm gonna even do it for Sauron because I don't like them on the floor. I want them, you don't have to be eye level, but just so you can see what's going on. On the floor, you're just
nobody want no pieces on the floor. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I definitely think once that Maestro shows up, you might be looking for, because if that's your first XM. Like some of these new ones I'm not a fan of, but like some of the ones from like about 2-3 years ago were really, really nice, in my opinion.
Yeah. So what I noticed with XM, and to be fair with Sideshow also now, is they're very hit or miss.
Right.
What I
agree.
Some of them look like, what are you doing? Like there was, and maybe some people like the pieces, to each his own. There was one Venomized Hulk.
Venomized. Oh, that's the XM one. I think XM.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
no.
I'm like, well, who's this for? I mean, yeah, it ain't for me. And
they
then
showed a Sinister, and I'm like, and he's doing like, I'm like, what is this mess? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So you might be right. I might be doing more XM. None of this stuff is cheap anymore.
No, it's not. Because I used to have the Ghost Rider, and that's a fantastic piece, But like my problem was, because like you said, you go through that. Oh, I want everything, and then I got it, and I was like, I don't care about this dude. I mean, the statue's great, but I was like, like it's got to go. So
I think every collector comes to that moment where they're like, okay, and I think the best way to describe it is you need to own your collection, not your collection own you.
Own you, exactly.
When it owns you, you're just getting stuff you don't even really want it.
No.
There's a lot of people, and I see them doing the same thing I used to do. They buy everything that's coming out. And when you have everything, it's like being a friend to everybody. If you're a friend to everybody, you're a friend to nobody. You're not even a friend to yourself if you're a friend to everybody. And if you collect everything, you don't really collect anything. You're just buying stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
totally agree. So you also a Star Wars aficionado, you see.
Yeah. Oh yes.
But you hang out over here with Kenobi and all them kind of people,
So Kenobi is one of the greatest Jedi that ever lived. So
no question.
So he's the man. I think he's the most iconic Jedi, and besides Luke, And so here's a funny story about Star Wars. So the first movie I ever remember seeing as a kid was Return of the Jedi.
That's a lot of people, yeah.
So I didn't know I was watching Star Wars. So the scene that I remember, the only scene I remember, so I remember my parents bought a VCR. This was a big deal at my house. Okay, it was like, oh my God, we have a VCR.
Right.
So I didn't know how the VCR worked. I was a little kid. So my dad must have threw in Return of the Jedi on tape. And I turned on the TV by myself one day, and the scene that came up was all the Ewoks. So I didn't know what the hell I was watching. All I remember as a kid is watching these little bear people do these cool things. And I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. I love this. They're like beating up these bad guys. But I didn't know what it was. So I must have went maybe a year or two and I thought in my head as a kid, I thought the VCR had this movie in it, but it didn't. My dad must have taken it out. So I would go, like after school, I would go trying to turn on the TV and saying, how come these bear people don't come on anymore? I'm turning on the VCR. I don't know what a VHS is. I just think the VCR makes the bear people come on. Yeah, and funny, it wasn't until, it must have been like, when you have an epiphany, like 10 years later, like I'm watching
all the time. Yeah,
I'm watching Return of the Jedi, like for the 100th time. Like, it's like, I just knew. And then I'm like, oh my God. Like my brain, like it all came together. I'm like, holy shit.
This is what it was.
This is the movie that I was watching.
Yep.
I didn't know what the hell I was watching. And I was trying to get it to play for like a year. And I gave up on it. But it's Return of the Jedi. So that was my
Wow.
that was my first movie. Like my memory can even go back to. I just didn't know what it was at the time.
You know, that's funny because I always like to hear whoever's, Star Wars fans' first Star Wars movie, because that tends to like shift your perspective on like how you view it. You know what I mean? Like I saw Empire first, so i.e. Vader is my favorite character. And then it's funny that like you saw Jedi and you don't like Luke more than you like Kenobi, because really that was Luke's movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And because I saw Empire first, and then like a few, because I was 4 when I saw Empire, and then a few summers later I went to summer camp and they showed A New Hope, and I remember watching. I'm like, what in the world is this? Like, I saw it was Star Wars, and I'm like, what this dude giving my boy orders for, and everything, and then then the part came Kenobi. I'm like, who this cat? And that, you know what I mean? So, but I remember seeing the Force Ghost. He only came, like try. Like this must. I was too young to put it together.
Yeah.
Force Ghost. So it's strange. It's always like hearing people's perspective on like depending on which was their first Star Wars movie they saw.
Yeah, and my fandom over time, like my cousins were really into Star Wars. So anytime we had sleepovers, we'd watch Star Wars. I wouldn't say I was a fan immediately.
Mm-hmm.
I was a fan over time, and just because my family really liked it, my dad really liked it. He went to see the original New Hope like 3 times in the theater because it was like mind blowing. He always told me the story because that was the first movie like that, and so he liked it. My family liked it, so it was like okay. And then by the time the prequels came, it was like my turn to have Star Wars, and I loved Phantom Menace. Like people hate that movie. I was like, finally, this is Star Wars for me, and I get my Star Wars movie. My dad went, and Yoda's in it, and then they had the Darth Maul scene, but then Obi-Wan, and I was thrilled because Obi-Wan killed Darth Maul. I was like, Obi-Wan's the man. He killed Maul, and he avenged Qui-Gon, and that's why I liked Obi-Wan even more. I was like, okay, he avenged his master and all that. So I was way into it. I knew at the time the older cats hated the prequels. And I kind of, sometimes you got to kind of play along. My older cousins didn't like it. Older friends didn't like it. And they're like, oh, it's not as good. And meanwhile, I'm secretly like, I really liked it. But I kept it to myself. And then everybody was complaining about Jar Jar. And I'm like, whatever. He's just like a throwaway character.
He never bothered me at all.
Yeah, literally, like I kind of figured like, okay, Lucas threw this guy in as like comic relief. Like every Star Wars movie has like
3PO or something.
So it didn't bother me, but man, I didn't realize like the actor got so much hate.
Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, I made best. Yeah,
like I was like suicidal. I was like, geez, man, leave the guy alone. It was just a stupid movie he did, and it was fine. Didn't leave there. I thought it was cool, like when they had the droid battle at the end, and that was some next level special effects when we were kids. And then freaking what is it? Revenge of the Sith. Attack of the Clones comes out, and bro, I had a moment when Yoda fights Dooku. I couldn't even see half of the damn thing. I was freaking out. I was just like, yeah. I didn't know what was going on. Like I literally missed half of it, but I was so excited because me and my boys were we were kind of like guessing if Yoda's gonna fight, like what does it look like when he's gonna fight? Like I thought he was gonna not even use the lightsaber. He was just gonna use the Force to use the lightsaber.
Yeah.
I didn't know that he'd be flipping around like doing that crazy acrobatic stuff. I was like, that was it. I was so excited of when he smacked around Dooku, like that was cool. And then Revenge of the Sith.
That was my favorite part. That as a whole, like, see, I like Phantom Menace, and I like Revenge. I love Revenge of the Sith is my second favorite Star Wars movie. But like as a whole, I really something about Attack of the Clones. I don't know what it was that I just didn't really like. I can't put my finger like the Jango fight with Obi-Wan was cool. I don't know. I just think here and there it was a little cheesy, but like the Yoda thing was special to me. I've told this story a million times. I was sitting in the basement with Rodney and another guy we grew up with in like 1992. We were in high school, and spoiler alert, Yoda's the only Jedi I really like. You know what I mean? Because I always been a fan of people with like wisdom and advice and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
So I always love folks like that, And so like we sitting there watching in the park with the we lifts the ship out of the water and everything. And this one dude come out of his mouth, what does Yoda do? He don't do nothing. He just sits it. I said, dude, there was a time where Yoda was a monster. I don't want to hear that mess. And so then fast forward 11 years later, we sitting there and that scene comes on, and I just turned around and looked at both of them. And then I don't want to hear that mess. I told both of y'all. I said, I don't want to hear nothing.
Wait. That's what you touch on something too, like, and that's probably why I like Obi-Wan in the original. Is something about the wise master.
Yeah.
Especially when Yoda, when he absorbs the Force lightning from Dooku.
Yeah.
And I was like, you see, Dooku don't know nothing about the Force. Yoda's he's like, you got a lot to learn, bro. You got a lot to learn. Like you think you're fancy because you could shoot some sparks at me. I was like, yo. I was so excited.
You got to check these. Disney made these little animated shorts of like scenes from like all the Star Wars movies. You saw that, but they're slightly different than the ones in. There's a part in that when he fights Dooku where he jumps and lands on his shoulder. And he could have decapitated him, but he doesn't. And he jumps and lands. I was like, dude, I wish they could have made because
And that's one of those things I hate to get with the current state of Star Wars, but like, talk about missed opportunity with Grogu. They just
I've been saying like because oh my god, when this last season when they try to train him as a Mandalorian, I'm like, dude, they really not gonna do this. They putting these gauntlets. I said, no, you're not really gonna do this. I said, please, God, don't do this.
So what I thought would have been a cool storyline is if he went off with Luke at season 2.
Yes.
Went off with Luke, and then if you want to do something cool for the final season of Mandalorian, right? Let's say he's trying to take over Mandalore, but the Empire captures him, and they're losing, and then a trained Grogu comes.
Thank you.
Bro, let me tell you something.
Thank you.
Someone at Disney has they don't have a brain because they can't make money worth a damn anymore, but you would have had, if you would have done that, where Grogu comes in and murks like all these stormtroopers and saves Mandalorian, you would have had people, you would have been standing in their living rooms like,
yes. Because I'm gonna take that. I've been saying, I was like, dude, he's got to have a function other than just to sell toys and look cute. Like, how much better would it be if he out there Yoda style with a license? You know what I mean? It would have been incredible. But no.
Yeah, we could spend another 3 hours complaining about what's going on right now. I think we're coming to a place where things are going to change quick. I think
please God, I hope so. The only episode that had me like that was season 2 when Boba showed up. Like when you saw Slave One, I said, I sat straight up in my chair. I said, this is it. We've been waiting for this. And they didn't disappoint us.
Yeah, they had moments. They had moments of greatness. And they let it go. Like, talk about like you have the football and you're standing on the 1 yard line and they just keep fumbling it. Like, anyway, we could. This is a drinking conversation.
I know, right? so like collectively, I know for a fact you got Darth Talon, but other than that, what other Star Wars?
So Star Wars pieces, I got a bunch of PFs from Sideshow. So the Obi-Wan, Leia, the most recent Darth Vader, Han Solo. I got the Legendary Scale Yoda, the first one. I got the second one on pre-order. That's the only Sideshow piece I got on pre-order right now, which is weird. I got one of the Boba Fett's. I can't remember if it's the first, second. It's not the first one. I don't know if it's the second or third. I'll take a picture. I'll send you so you guys get all the Star Wars pieces. Okay. I got the Darth Maul PF, but the lightsabers don't work for no reason. I have no idea.
The one where he's walking.
They just don't work. They're not broken. I just that's aggravating. I'm one of those people, like, if something's not perfect on one of my statues, it hurts my feelings. Like, even looking at it, it's like, what else I got? I got Cara Dune, the PF.
Oh, okay.
That's the one piece from Mandalorian I got. I don't have a Mando, and believe it or not, I don't have a Luke.
Really?
I don't.
Okay,
like
that's perfect. That's perfect. You don't like Luke?
No, I like Luke. I don't like any of the statues of him.
I'm glad you said it. Now I know for a fact you're gonna get another XM piece because that XM Luke is the best Luke out there right now.
Which one? The Hoth one?
In the Hoth one. I mean, that one is perfect.
The PJ said that too. I gotta see him in person.
I used to have it until I got all these Jedi out of here, and he's standing on the snow speeder and he's looking at because it's like the AT-AT, he's about to go up and throw the grenade into the AT-AT, and the portrait is perfect.
Yeah,
and like you can switch. You can put the lightsaber in his belt and everything, and it's. I'm telling you that's if you get a Luke, that's the Luke to have.
I need a Luke. It's just what I really would like. I'd like a Jedi Master Luke in the black outfit. That's my favorite outfit.
They do have Iron Studios has one where he's holding Grogu. It's from the Mandalorian, and he's got R2 with him. It's actually pretty nice. It's nice. Yeah. So that one
outfit, I love that outfit. That because he's you could tell he's kind of on both sides of the Force. He's not completely good. He's kind of
right. Yeah.
I think that's a cool dichotomy with Luke because it's kind of like a precursor to him dabbling in the dark to see what it's all about.
Right.
Pretty cool.
So how do you feel about the MCU? Like since that's the I gotta say here lately I ain't a fan of this new stuff. Like post Thanos, I'm not a big fan of this stuff.
Bro, we're on life support, my friend.
It's bad, man. It's so bad.
We got the problem is a lot of the Russo brothers are gone.
Yeah.
And Favreau is not touching it. I mean, those are when you look at the best Marvel movies,
there you go.
The Russo brothers and Favreau.
Yeah.
I mean, Winter Soldier is my favorite Marvel movie of all time.
Yeah, mine too.
That has the best choreography. I don't know, whoever they hired for the knife, the knife scene in the street.
Vicious. Oh my God.
Bro, I was watching this movie, I'm like, yo, this is not special effects.
They really doing that stuff.
They're really doing it. That is some choreography right there. They need to bring that dude back. Whoever did that needs to come. Yeah. And the elevator scene, just the ambiance of the movie. When Captain America and Black Widow were in that secret base, and what's the villain's name?
Oh, you talking about Zola?
The Nazi scientist.
Zola.
Yeah. And he's like, "You are a man out of time."
Yeah.
That's dude. Zola. I was like, "This is great. This is awesome."
That's definitely the best one in my opinion.
Yeah. The last good Marvel movie was of course Spider-Man, but that you can't even do. That's not really the MCU.
I did like that. That one in Doctor Strange. I know some people didn't. I did like Doctor Strange.
I didn't mind Doctor Strange, but that's because I'm not a Doctor Strange fan.
True.
So I'm a what's her name? Scarlet Witch fan.
Right.
So as a Scarlet Witch fan, I think they did her a lot of justice because she just killed everybody.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But if I was a Doctor Strange fan, I'd probably feel robbed. Which I can understand. Ant-Man was horrendous.
Yeah, it's been free on Disney, and I have no desire to watch it at all. Right. You know what I mean? I got none.
You're not missing anything. It's a joke. It's just a joke. Yeah. I haven't seen Guardians. I heard it was good. Yeah, it's bad when I just don't care. It's like
bro, I could care like 2. I didn't like 2. I loved 1. I didn't like 2.
Okay, you're right. 1 was better than 2. Yeah. And I think Gunn is overrated. I'm glad he's out of the MCU. I feel like when he lets loose, you get movies like Suicide Squad.
True.
That's what happens. That's what happens when he lets loose. When you give him complete control and nobody's reeling him in, it's ridiculous and everything's a joke. Nothing is serious. That's why I miss the Russo brothers and I miss Favreau because there was at least a scale of or a feeling of like dramatic or like what's the word? There was a heaviness to it, like this stuff means something. gravitas. That's the word. There was a gravitas to everything. It's gone. There's no gravitas anymore. Everybody's damn. Whoever does the special effects in Marvel movies, and this sorry, this is turning into a rant, but everyone's mask.
No, it's okay.
Why is everyone's mask digital? Why is that? That annoys me. Everyone clicks their head and their mask comes on. That's just laziness on the behalf of the production team. Nobody wants to actually put on a mask, right? Everything's like they're mailing it in. Like, oh yeah, how's this outfit gonna work? Oh no, he just presses a button and whatever.
Right.
It's like not everybody's like that. Even Spider-Man. They even made Spider-Man's mask this. Why?
Yeah.
He does this. Okay.
Yeah.
He does this.
Yeah. Plus, I think another problem is we've been watching this stuff for 10 years now. And I think a certain level of fatigue is setting in. And also now, like all the A-listers are gone. Like Iron Man is gone and Cap is gone and Thor, whatever this Love and Thunder mess is.
Oh, Love and Thunder was an insult to the fandom, insult to the character, insult to the whole damn universe. I mean, what they did to Zeus was like unforgivable.
Oh, bro, I haven't watched that either. But like the only reason I wanted to see it was really to see Bale. You know what I mean? But I couldn't even bring myself, so I just like kind of YouTubed his parts. So I was like, okay, and that was it.
So I was reading the comics up until only like 5-6 years ago. I mean, so they got so bad I couldn't even read them anymore.
Yes.
But there's his character arc, the God Butcher, was actually a cool story.
It was. I had that. I used to have
where he comes in and he just keeps killing everyone, and it's just Thor left by himself fighting them off every day or whatever. That's cool, but they turned that whole storyline into, I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
You do yourself a favor, don't. It'll ruin you.
So we run this short on time. There's something I want to get to. How do you're an original collector, like you started Sideshow from the beginning. How do you view like the collecting community in its genesis to where it is now? You know what I mean? Like, what are you seeing the differences?
I think everyone went through if I rewind back to where I met like Tim and PJ, we met each other at New York Comic Con, and there was a Sideshow like meetup. Like the Sideshow had actually reached out. Yeah, they had reached out. You were there too. Yeah, in the city. I was there. Yeah, I was there. Yeah, that's where I first met everybody, and I think at that point was the peak where I was like buying everything, and but I didn't know at the time that there were other people like me.
Right.
Like straight up, like I met you guys, and I was like, "Oh my god, there's other lunatics like me, filling up their rooms with this stuff." I thought like anyone who collected it besides me was just a guy who bought one or two and just put it in his office and thought, "Hey, that's cool." I didn't know that I did things. I thought I was unique. I'm not that unique because I'm not the only one. Yeah, I'm not the only one that had a room full of these, and I like to put them on a shelf or whatever. So there's definitely a psyche thing with all of us that we sync up to. There's something about it, like displaying your stuff, right?
Right.
And I think the whole community is going through the same phase that we all went through right now, all at once. Everyone was like, "Let's buy everything," right? Yeah. And then it's like, "Why am I doing this?" And now everybody's coming off the high. The problem is, like, I think that the industry thought that the demand was going to keep doing this, and right now the demand is doing this. Not because people don't want it, it's just because people are there's only so many of us, and everyone goes through the same process. You get a taste, you get really excited, then you buy everything, then you realize, oh my God, why am I even buying half of this stuff? I'm going to sell it. And now there was an industry that wrapped around it. So now there's so many people making statues, man.
Yes.
And it's evident. I mean, you look, everyone's got a sale. Even Prime One, Sideshow, everyone's got so much inventory. And I think the industry is going to contract. And it'll probably go through another cycle. Like it'll be 10 years from now, and it's going to be new collectors in here, and they're going to do the same thing we did. Yep. And then what's going to happen is I think a lot of these statue companies are going to shrink or go out of business.
Or combine. Maybe they might combine. Yeah.
Or combine, merge
Mhm.
until the next wave of lunatics comes in and decides they want to buy everything. But we might be looking at a different IP wave. I mean,
I was about to say that.
Marvel and DC. I got to tell you, I think we're the last of the Mohegans.
I was just about to say, because we definitely the last generation of like comic book readers and all that kind of stuff. Because again, I haven't read these new books in like 6-7 years, and maybe you might have some people like the movies made people want to go back and read stuff, So like that's why all these omnibuses and stuff came in. But now with these movies going like like what is this mess? The rate of awareness and stuff is running out. So it's like, what nostalgia are you gonna collect? Star Wars.
There's a nostalgia aspect to it, like you said.
Yeah.
I'm looking. I have a 7-year-old and a 4-year-old. My 7-year-old is really into Pokemon, Zelda, Minecraft, Dragon Ball Z. He reads the manga. He reads. Right. He doesn't read comics. He reads manga. So he'll go. They got a comic book store in the mall over here called Newberry Comics, and the manga section is packed all the time, dude, with teenagers reading this stuff. You go to the Marvel and DC section, it's like this sad little.
Oh my God!
It's depressing, bro. I'm like, nobody's reading this, and you can't tell me. I hate when people say, "Oh, nobody reads comics anymore." No, they do. They're reading manga, because I go to the mall. If you go to the Danbury Mall in Connecticut, there are packs of teenagers buying manga like crazy, reading the stuff. Wow. And the racks at Marvel, dude, it's sad. You go there, it's in the corner, like nobody even cares about it. You walk in, it's full manga, Berserk, what is it, Berserker, Naruto, and all that stuff is all there, man. So you're gonna see when they get older, they're gonna be buying statues of that stuff.
There you go.
They're not gonna be buying statues of this stuff.
So that means like Sume and all them kind of people, and Prime One a little bit, I guess. Is because I gotta admit, some of those anime statues are dope. I just don't know who these people are.
I don't know who the hell they are, but they're amazing. Bro, I got the Goku and the Vegeta Prime one. Amazing.
This one, I think it's Sumi. I'm assuming it's Sume. I'm not sure. And Ryan used to have it, and he told me some dude named Gara. I guess he can control sand or something like that. And he's standing like with his arms like this, and like there's a shell. He made like a shell of sand around himself, and it's got like spikes pointing. That statue is amazing, Yeah. So they got some dope. And then what is it? Connecticut's is making all these Attack on Titans and all that kind of stuff. I know Rodney likes the one with the two big giant dudes about to fight each other, or whatever. So you might be right. That might be the way.
Maybe Lord of the Rings will still be a thing. I think that keeps. I look at whoever is bringing in fans.
Yeah.
So Lord of the Rings is bringing in fans. Harry Potter is going to make another. You're going to have a lot of kids who read Harry Potter who are going to be into nostalgia from the old Harry Potter books that might drive. In 10 years from now, you'll be seeing a lot of Harry Potter pieces. You never know. Stuff like that. But yeah, I think Marvel and DC, dude, unless they do something quick, they're losing a whole generation of kids, man. Like my kid is into Spider-Man, but he don't really care about any of it. Like,
I was about to ask you how they feel about your collection.
They think it's normal. Huh. They go down. They think it's a normal thing. Like, other people, they think I'm nuts. But like my boys, they know not to touch my stuff. They know it's expensive. They got the whole. They hang out down there where they watch movies. They can name all the characters pretty much. But they I think I'm rubbing off on them because now they got some stuff in their room. They got Dragon Ball stuff and dinosaur. Like they like things to put in their room. So I'm seeing it already. He's like, oh, I could put this on my shelf.
Yeah.
So it starts whatever. I'm curious, like if I fast forward like 20 years from now, like if I go to their house, right, what are they going to have in their room? That's going to be interesting, right? Good follow-up video. This again in 20 years, and we'll see what it is they got in their basements and their man caves and stuff.
You go over Thanksgiving days. Let's go down and see the collection, and they got all these Gokus and all that kind of mess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, well, look, man, we didn't ran out of time, but I think this has definitely been one of like because a lot of this stuff that we talk about, I didn't think about like for the future of this stuff, and yeah, they better Marvel and DC, they better get their act together, Star
Yeah,
Wars to the extent too, because all the diehards,
it's all downstream right now.
yeah,
They were living off of our nostalgia. I don't think our people
exactly,
are having nostalgia. Like they don't even care. So they got to
right.
get in their heads a little bit, otherwise it's dead. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
it's gonna be like I don't know what was big in the, like, for example, westerns. I'm sure when westerns were popular,
right,
the
right,
people who were into that would think that people are going to be fans of westerns forever. Look
exactly.
at westerns now. I can't name one damn western. I have no idea. You know.
Yeah. I mean, it was a few, but not. It ain't like it was back then. Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Bonanza. My
right.
father still watches like on TV Bonanza and what is it? Not Clint Eastwood. What's the other guy?
John Wayne.
John Wayne. Yeah,
John
yeah.
Wayne.
John
Yeah,
Wayne was probably the most popular person on the planet at one point,
yeah.
right?
At one point. Yeah.
I could barely name him.
Thank you. Well, my man, I appreciate you coming on. I'm definitely gonna miss you on Saturday. We'll light a stove for you. The King's
Yes.
gonna be there, ironically.
Oh,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
up?
Him and his car. I'll tell him.
Yeah.
So, man,
Did he ever get a Hulk? PF, is he still on the Hulk
nah,
hunt?
I guess but he never got one. He didn't get one yet.
Yeah, he can come see mine. I told him.
I'll tell him.
I told him I spent $324 on it.
Oh, he'll be watching this. Trust me. So look, y'all. I appreciate everybody watching, and Dom, thanks again for coming on, my man. And we'll catch y'all next time on Just Ask for a Friend. See you, everybody.
You. Yeah.